Hey guys, PIEGUYRULZ here, and welcome back to the continuing train of Butch Hartman nonsense. So, as some of you may know, I was browsing around Butch Hartman's public Facebook page that he runs with his wife where he does these weekly live streams. I was trying to see if there was any updates on Oaxis, because last we heard, things were being worked on, and that's about the update he gave. Heck, even the website has not updated with the latest update he put out, probably because it says absolutely nothing more than he was saying back in September of last year. Anyway, I couldn't find anything about Oaxis, but as I was scrolling through, I found this poster. Yes, this is a poster for an event held back in January of 2020, run by Julianne Hartman, and of course her lovely husband, Butch Hartman, where they claim that God healed Julianne and her friends of fibromyalgia, heart and kidney failure, cancer, and of course, autism. Before I address any of the rest of this, I just want to point out autism is not a disease, autism is not something that should or needs to be cured, and it is absolutely ridiculous and offensive for them to lump autism in with these deadly diseases. So there's a website linked, and went to it and checked it out, and in case there is any sort of doubt here, the way that this little blurb is written, when they say healed, they mean cured. They absolutely mean cured. They don't mean, well, through prayer we helped manage our pain and positive thinking helped us through this difficult experience. No. They specifically say, 11 years later, I testify to you that I am completely healed of that disease and any symptoms that went along with it. They also say that Christ can't stand to see anyone sick, in pain, or stuck in a condition. Of course, the issue here is that there are tons of people out there that are deeply religious and pray every single day for their life-threatening disease to go away that still end up dying. Whether or not you believe in a god or spirituality, it is very clear to anyone who can look at any evidence that there is no way that God just miraculously cures people because you believe in him enough. To say so is an insult to anyone who had a deep relationship with God and still ended up dying. It's also incredibly dangerous that Julianne here is saying things like, oh, well, I spent X $100,000 on doctors and they couldn't cure me, but God sure can, in such a way that it makes desperate people feel like they shouldn't go to the doctor and instead just go to this conference where they'll be cured. And in case there was any doubt, of course this is written from the perspective of Julianne Hartman, so obviously she's the one running it, but Butch does indeed appear in the video on the website. The link is in the description, of course. Here's another lovely screenshot from that video where they claim that not just one person, but 2 boys were healed of autism. It's one thing to personally believe that the Lord has cured you and performed a miracle on you. That's your own personal beliefs. But then to go out and spread this around and try to make it seem like basically just anyone can be cured of horrible, horrible diseases like lupus, cancer, and heart and kidney failure if they just pray hard enough and come to their totally free conference, it's dangerous and it's sad. And again, the autism thing also sticks with me just because that is just on its face absolutely wrong. So anyway, after seeing yet another awful thing that Butch and his wife have done, my friend, Kuro the artist, finally decided to make a video talking about his full experiences working for Butch Hartman, including the fact that Butch owes him $1,400 for working on the project Imaginathan. There will be a link to Kuro's video in the description. He explains it much better than I can. But the long and short of it is that Kuro has the receipts to prove everything. He has the emails that him and Butch sent to each other, as well as him and the person working for Butch sent to each other. He has the contract. And basically, Butch is trying to get away with this loophole where if the project is never officially canceled, he thinks he doesn't have to pay Kuro, even though it's ridiculous because Imaginathan did technically come out in this horribly mangled form. Again, I don't want to repeat all of the points that Kuro said. There's a link down in the description, but Kuro is a young upstart artist who is trying to make his way into the industry, and that is an incredibly tough thing to do. Butch Hartman took advantage of the fact that Kuro was young, and Kuro was naive, and Kuro was a huge fan of Butch and his work in order to get animation done from Kuro for, quite frankly, very, very cheap. Also, by the by, I've commissioned Kuro to do the very PyCons that you are looking at, and I have to say, throughout the whole process, he was nothing but professional and courteous. Also, I paid him, because paying artists just really isn't that hard. So throughout these two things occurring, people criticizing him for his faith-healing beliefs and seminar, as well as Kuro coming out and talking about how he's been wronged by Butch, Butch was doing his usual thing of not actually acknowledging things, but at the same time being passive-aggressive and sending little signals. He missed posting on Twitter for the first day in who knows how many weeks. The day after Kuro uploaded his video, Butch uploaded a video to the Nuke Network, ensuring not that many people would see it, doing what he always does in trying to capitalize on the promise of drama in regards to the production of Imaginathan, but then instead doing a bait and switch and just talking about this lame version of Imaginathan that Butch made years ago, and then showing the same cartoon that people have already seen. Passive-aggressive things that let us know that Butch definitely knows about what's going on, although of course, as usual, he just refuses to actually acknowledge it in any way that involves any amount of honesty or transparency or even just giving his side of the story. But then, Kuro came across a Facebook Live video wherein Butch very clearly refers to the situation going on with Kuro without actually acknowledging it. And that's what I'm here to talk about today, because Kuro, again, did a very great edit of this video, and it's on Twitter, link is in the description, but I wanted to do a more in-depth discussion about this insane video and Butch Hartman's just, quite frankly, bonkers beliefs. Because Butch won't ever be forthright and tell us his side of the story, the best we can do is look at what Butch Hartman believes in and look at what he says and try to interpret what he actually means and what he actually stands for. Butch's livestream is a 52-minute video, so I will not be referring to all of it here, but I've decided to take a few segments that I thought were interesting, comment on them, and present them to you so that you can make up your own mind about what the heck he's on about. So first, Julianne talks a little bit about her experiences with illness and why she believes that the Lord can just miraculously cure anyone.
I know what happened to me back in 2008 because I got so depressed. I got very sad about a situation, and it affected my whole body. So just having that literally the fear alone went rampant in my body and caused all kinds of symptoms. So then that caused me to believe many different labels they put on me, many diagnoses that they put on me. And so, one being fibromyalgia, another one they said MS, they said lupus, they said diabetes, they said all kinds of things. And what do you do with those labels? What do you do when somebody that you have paid, that you've always revered doctors as in like they know everything, right? And then they're telling you these things, and then they're saying, but there's no cure, so.
So what I'm personally getting from this is that doctors couldn't nail down a prognosis. That doesn't mean that you were cured of fibromyalgia. That means that they were still working to try to figure out what was wrong with you. No, doctors are not magical people that have all of the answers, and yes, it does suck to throw hundreds of thousands of dollars down the drain trying to get a cure. It does suck. It's frustrating. I genuinely feel for her on that. But that doesn't mean that doctors are useless, and that doesn't mean that she was miraculously cured, and that especially doesn't mean that she should be going around spreading the idea that you can be miraculously cured. Especially if there's not even hard evidence that you had this disease that you claimed was killing you before God stepped in. Now Julianne's going to tell us why she believes that the people out there that are deeply sick and are dealing with issues but are praying every single day have not been miraculously cured.
And so, people say like, oh my gosh, I've commanded and I've confessed and I do all these things. Well, you might be doing them, and people say like, oh, I command and confess and nothing happens. Well, because there's no truth rooted probably to those commands and confessions.
Oh, okay, thanks, Julianne, thanks. So apparently, if you pray really hard and you're dying, the issue is you are not religious enough. And you don't actually believe in God. You're just pretending so that God can cure you.
You know what? This is my story. This is the Julianne Hartman story. It may not be your story, but I know a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of miraculous healings come forth when I see things change on the heart, on the inside of the heart of somebody.
Hey, Julianne, you can't say that if you are running a seminar trying to preach these beliefs. You know, PIEGUYRULZ, have a certain amount of beliefs that I have based upon my personal experiences in life that I have because of things that have personally happened to me and because of the way that I am as a person. I don't go around spreading them like they are universal truths. You cannot sit here and say, oh, well, this is just my story. This is just what worked for me. If you are going out there and actively doing seminars and every week doing a live show where you claim that this can work this way because it worked for you, therefore it can work for everyone else too.
This is a real thing. And I'm not saying that you don't love Jesus. I'm sure you do. And I'm not saying that you're not saved, because I'm sure you are. But you're not activating the kingdom part of the king.
Oh, that's the key. Okay, I'm dying of an incurable illness, but I forgot to look on the back of my Jesus card and scratch off the little thing to activate my miracle key and become miraculously cured. But okay, this is a lost cause. Clearly, this is what she believes, and nothing is ever going to persuade her from believing this. No amount of evidence of people dying despite being deeply religious will ever persuade her that what she is saying is wrong and hurtful and harmful. She is just that deep into this, and I don't really know what else to say about it. Apologies to all my Christian friends and fans out there who are not insane nutcases like Julianne and Butch Hartman. I think anyone reasonable knows that you're good people, and that just because you have a relationship with the Lord doesn't mean that you think that it works exactly like this, and doesn't mean that you're going around spreading harmful ideas. Just wanted to make that clear. Again, I don't have any problem with anyone who's religious, but I do have problems with people who are this deeply deluded and sharing it in such a way that it can actively hurt others. Now let's see what they have to say about what I assume is the Kuro situation.
We've gone through some hard stuff. We're going through some stuff right now. There's some people, that we get attacked on the internet all the time. And you know what? How do we handle that situation? Do we back down? Do we cower down and get weak and go, oh no, the mean people are being mean to us? Listen,
heck no.
What do? Do I come back on people, or do we? When people attack us, do we go back on them? That'd be using their
tactics.
Nowhere in this does Butch ever discuss the possibility of trying to make amends with people or trying to empathize with people and understand why they might have brought this up, or discuss the possibility, Butch, that you have actually done something wrong. There's no amount of self-reflection. There's no amount of coming at this and saying, well, maybe I should just share my side of the story. The only things Butch talks about here are either cowering, fighting, or simply ignoring the issue until it goes away, like he always does.
Because you know what? This world is temporary. All the things you see in this world, the words people say, they're all temporary, guys. You're in a eternal situation where you have a chance now to leave a legacy.
The amazing thing is, life on Earth could be heaven if people just treated each other better.
We have a whole arsenal of stuff right here spiritually that we go to. We don't need to fight, because the Bible says that we don't fight with flesh and blood. And so, meaning like we don't go duke it out and punch it out. But what I love is this much. When you've got, the Bible says that in that day you'll know the truth, and the truth sets them free. We know the truth about us. We know who we are.
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about us, because we know who we are. And people that know us, that actually know us, know that, we're good people.
Well, firstly, Kuro, nor I, nor anyone else is trying to physically fight you. Just throwing that out there. And secondly, okay, guys, you know the truth. If it's just the truth and it's going to set you free, then why don't you share it with us? Why don't you give us your side of the story? And I genuinely mean that. I don't really think there is a way that Butch and Julianne can weasel out of this with Kuro, but certainly if there is some piece of evidence that we don't know that makes Butch look like the good guy again, please be honest with us and tell us. I know I might seem like an unreasonable hate ball for Butch Hartman, but the truth is that It really sucks seeing someone that a lot of my friends look up to turn out to be a scumbag, and I would like for nothing more than for Butch to actually turn it around, apologize, and make right on the things that he's done wrong. And not just me, but Butch has tons of fans that are starting to turn away from him because he refuses to acknowledge these things. If Butch were to come out and make a statement saying his side of the story, people would forgive him. I'm not saying I necessarily would, but there are lots of people that definitely would, because they want to like him.
We've spent 28 years of our life and 30 years together of being very generous, very kind people that just want to see other people succeed in life.
Oh yes, it's super generous to offer Kuro much less than he should be getting for animating an entire short, and it's super generous to then not pay him on that. And it is super in Kuro's best interest for you to backstab him like this.
Anybody can make anything look horrible. That's why, just know this, when you see things online, don't just take it for face value.
Exactly.
You need to dig in and find out, because media is trying to get, social media is trying to destroy people with stuff they fabricated.
Wow, Julianne kinda sorta makes a good point here. When people make accusations online, it is important to do your research and look into it and not just believe some sort of baseless accusation. And if something looks sketchy, it's important to do the research. Which is why 2 years ago, when I saw the Kickstarter for Oaxis, I tried to do a little more research and actually inquire with Mr. Hartman about what the details here are on Oaxis and why hasn't he decided to share them with people who are paying to make his service become a reality. And the same thing is happening again. Okay, yes, sure, do your research on Butch Hartman, but the problem is when you do your research on Butch Hartman, you find out all the scummy things that he's said, how he's tried to downplay things like depression, how he makes these really tasteless suicide jokes, how he completely dismisses any form of criticism and looks down on anyone who hasn't achieved what he has.
But when you don't know something, you'll just go, oh, well, okay, that person is this. Oh, okay, that person is that. Why? Well, who said that? I don't know. Maybe some kid in his mother's house that didn't like you.
Ooh, guys, if you were paying attention, you'd know it's Kuro saying these things, not some internet stranger, someone who had a working relationship with Butch to some degree. And not that it matters, but he doesn't live in his parents' house. He's not a kid. And he was such a mega fan of Butch's that he made a comic partly based off of one of Butch's shows. He was a huge Butch fanboy before any of this happened. They're just completely wrong on all accounts and haven't bothered to look into this at all. And it just goes to show that no matter how legitimate your complaint is, the Hartmans do not care. They see it as a baseless attack, whether it's legitimate criticism or someone calling them butt faces. It's all the same.
As much as people think that it's supposed to upset you, at first you go like, what? Wow, okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
But man, I'll tell you, just this thing rises up over me and I get excited because I'm like, boy, oh boy, you just wait.
Yeah.
You just wait.
Exactly. And that is the thing. Yeah,
it's not up to us to take revenge. That's what I love. God says, he says, let me heat the hot coals of it. Don't you take any revenge. I'm going to take care of it. So you know what we do? We say, here you go.
Excuse me? God is not your bulldog that you can sick on someone. Look how disgustingly happy she gets at the thought that God is going to take revenge on people like Kuro and me and anyone else who doesn't just automatically love them.
So the Lord's going to establish you, and he's going to guard you from the evil one. He's going to set you up and guard you. And that's the thing. If you're in the Lord and he's on your side, you're always going to be protected. And you're going to have to ignore people, because a lot of people, you have to look at why people might say things against you.
And let me just get right to the crux of it here. Butch Hartman and Julianne Hartman are incredible egotists who only worship themselves. I personally believe the only reason they buy into this form of religion is because they feel that they get to act through God and therefore be gods themselves. They never hold themselves accountable to any mistakes. They never acknowledge any wrongs that they've done. They don't do anything other than believe that they have absolute divine purpose in what they are doing. And that is terrifying. Anyone who believes that they are righteous no matter what they are doing and that they can never be called on anything, they are never wrong, they are never anything, is an incredible egotist who believes, in fact, that they are God.
Why would people say it? Usually they're jealous of you and they sense something
Yeah.
about you that is so awesome that they want it and they don't have it. And then instead of asking you how you got it, they'd rather tear you down instead.
Oh, that's why I'm doing this? Duh, I just want to be Butch Hartman. It's not the fact that you scam people out of money. It's not the fact that you continuously ignore criticism. It's not the fact that you think that you can cure autism or life-threatening illnesses. It's not the fact that you took advantage of a young artist named Kuro. That's it. Me and Kuro, we just want to be Butch Hartman. Who wouldn't want to be Butch Hartman? Who wouldn't want to be a guy who believes that he can do absolutely no wrong? He's a narcissistic baby who can't handle living in the real world where people have legitimate problems with him that rather than apologize for or try to make right or engage in a good faith way, he would rather sit here and act like he is better than everyone else. So I was about to end this video, I was working on it, and I come across this, Vision Possible. This is Butch and Julianne Hartman's inspirational seminar consulting thing that they do, and I just had to share it with you all because he is just transparently a con artist. So look at this. Vision Possible. Okay, inspirational. Believe, conceive, achieve. Hoaxis. Let us help you make your daydream your day job. Apply for your free discovery call. Believe, conceive, achieve. They wrote a book. They have a podcast that they do, apparently. I mean, I have no idea how long this has been here. But look at this. Look at the speakers. Butch, Butch's daughter, Butch's wife, and then a few other people. Okay, so clicking over to the About. There's Butch, Michigan native. I drew a picture of my teacher. She kept raving about it. He made Fairly Odd Parents, Danny Phantom, Tough Puppy. Great, 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 great. And then just how great Butch is, how great Julianne is. Ego, ego, ego. And then you get to coaching, and look at this. So you apply for your free discovery call. Look at all this great stuff. You know, Butch is going to show you how to make your vision come true when it's been 2 years and Oaxis is still nothing at all. Look at this. If you make a $4,800 investment, you get creative meetings where he shows you how to show creation, character design, show structure, story ideas, know your audience, show up. And then there's an elite program where you can pay $6,000 for Butch Hartman's consulting. I understand that he made the Fairly Odd Parents years and years ago, but he cannot make his vision of Oaxis come true. He is struggling to get it off the ground, and he won't share any details publicly. But of course, if you pay him thousands of dollars, you can get coaching. There's also a shop, of course. I mean, just what a load of absolute nonsense. If Butch Hartman had the secret to making things happen, I feel like Oaxis would actually have some sort of value at this point. There would be some sort of tangible thing he could show us, but no. Maybe he is making Oaxis and he's just been hiding all of the updates behind $4,000 phone calls? Or maybe he's a complete hack who knows that he can make more money by pretending to be someone who knows what he's doing than actually providing something that people could want, use, or need. I don't know. It's just nuts, man. I mean, all of these seminars and conferences and stuff, this is what charlatans do.
It is despicable to the Lord when people use the worship of the Almighty as a cloak for their sin. But every prayer of his godly lovers are pleasing to his heart. The Lord detests the lifestyle of the wicked, but he loves those who pursue purity. Severe punishment awaits the one who turns away from the truth, and those who rebel against correction will die. Wow.
Well, that's a lot right there.